Hey guys, welcome back. It's Melody. I just got back from Portugal and Canada, back to back almost, so I am exhausted. Therefore, I decided it's coming down to the wire. I'm going to do a video on something I know very well, like the back of my hand, so that I can get this video out quickly. So I'm going to be talking about business. When I'm talking about how to be successful, I'm talking not in a philosophical sense. I'm talking in a very straightforward way on how to make the most money. So these are the rules of the game. These are the things that pay the most in the corporate world, and this can really help you out, especially if you're a millennial and you're trying to get a hold of things, or maybe you're just about to join the corporate world again after raising kids, or maybe you're in the corporate world and you haven't had a raise and you want to gain the confidence. This video is for you. I have a few disclaimers first before I start, and the very first disclaimer is that skill is very important. Nothing overrides pure skill. So you want to add value into your life by going to college or other things like that, whatever you can do. A lot of court reporters are not real-time, but the big money comes in being a real-time reporter. Therefore, you've got to constantly build your skill and not stagnate. That's the biggest tip I have. You have to have skill. You have to have value to the corporate world. The next thing I want to say is that none of us have a perfect childhood. We all have bad habits that we picked up from our childhood, or bad habits that are natural proclivities of our own personalities. You've got to work through them. You've got to become as well-rounded as possible by paying attention to the areas that you lack. Nobody's going to come at 21 and be a well-rounded individual. It's just not going to happen. So you've got to pay attention to the things you lack. Don't let pride get in the way of noticing where you lack, because that's the biggest problem. If you're too proud, you're not going to notice if there's any disparities. Also, you want to make sure that the habits you picked up from your childhood are the ones that you want to take going forward. You've got to objectively look at everything and make sure you're taking things that you want to be taking into the future. So in that vein, it brings me to the third disclaimer, which is we've all got disadvantages. There are lots of things that are not fair in this world. You can't focus on the bad things, and for one reason, a purely rational reason, and that is it's not productive. I strongly believe in the sunk cost fallacy, which is to cut your losses, or to cut your parents' losses. If you keep bringing those problems into your future, then you'll keep taking losses for what should stay in the past. So I never think about my disadvantages. Yes, there's disadvantages in the world, but I act as if there aren't. And I let reality deal out at the end of the day what it's going to give to me. But I'm going to do my best. If you live in a work culture where they literally don't care about you, then what you need to do is not care, because you want to get into the habit of always being excellent. And if you live in a culture, a work culture, where they don't value you and you start devaluing yourself, you're always going to be there because you're not going to have confidence and you're not going to feel self-worth. You should always be building and trying to be the best that you can be, and therefore those habits become second nature and you can easily transfer them over. So don't let yourself go. So before I get into the psychological reasons of what companies look for and what they pay for, I want to talk about some obvious tips just in case. I want to cover all of the bases. And the obvious tips are, whenever you're going for an interview, don't overdo anything. So no overdone jewelry, no overdone hairstyle, no overdone makeup. You want to keep it neutral, natural, and matte. Those are my keys, because if you are wearing a lot of eye makeup, for instance, that's not waterproof and it's getting all over the place, or you're wearing a really glossy lip and it's getting on your teeth, it's just not a good look. People are visual. Rules of the game are rules of the game. So don't be chewing gum. Don't be sending pink cover sheets. Individuality is not something that's prized in the business world. And again, like I said, these are the rules of the game. A few other obvious tips is to block your Facebook, block your Instagram. Don't be posting political or sexual things on Twitter. Just be smart. That's the basics. Be smart. And also tailor one outfit at least. At least afford to tailor one outfit. It makes a difference. It makes a huge difference. When it comes to psychology, there's 4 Myers-Briggs that get paid the most. And the Myers-Briggs is a test that they give at college campuses and also in some jobs. And I know those 4 very well, partially because I was raised under one of them. Also, I'm an INTJ. I've lived with an ESTJ, and my sister's an ENTJ. So I know the 4 types that get paid the most, and they have a lot of things in common, and that's what I really want to emphasize. You may not naturally be these things, but you can bring these things out of yourself and develop yourself to be more well-rounded. And you should focus on these things if you really would like to improve your income. You should focus on improving these personality traits first. There are many things to improve when it comes to our personality, but if you're going specifically for money, specifically for autonomy, because I don't look at money as just money. Money is opportunity. Money gives autonomy. Money gives experiences. It's not the money itself, but if you're looking for those things, then this is how you get them according to psychology. The very first and most obvious thing that all of these 4 personalities have in common is that they're thinkers. The business world does not value authenticity, individuality. It values rationality, objectivity. What it really values, though, above all things, is effectiveness, efficiency, decisiveness, even more than accuracy. It values those things. And the problem with feelings is slow moving. Objectively, feelings are slow moving. To get to a result, it doesn't mean it's going to be more inaccurate than thought. Oftentimes, it can produce a very accurate result. However, it is very slow moving, and the business world values efficiency. Another thing about thinking is that it is more stable because you can override feelings and do what has to be done. And the business world definitely values reliability. So, how you can develop this is I developed it through minimalism. Basically, in minimalism, you've got to make thousands of decisions on what to declutter, what to give away, and you've got to make them quickly. You should not be hesitating. When you're in a store and you're looking to buy something, you should be able to make that decision quickly. Constantly force yourself because, like I said, the business world values decisiveness. It values efficiency. It values the ability to act and not to hesitate. This is also important to keep in mind because many CEOs are also thinkers. So if you are going to convince someone to your argument or try to mirror them, you're going to have to do so in a thinking manner because they're not going to be moved by feelings or stories. You have to give them a rational argument. Practicing thinking and practicing rising above feelings will not only give you stability to your life, but also you'll be able to more relate to the people who generally hold positions of power within companies. Very important in the business world is confidence. I mean, look at a 20-year-old and look at a 40-year-old. What does the 20-year-old not have other than experience? They don't have confidence. They don't believe in themselves, and this is a huge problem. Of course, I'm generalizing, but generally speaking, confidence is very important because the ability to sell yourself is very important, and confidence is the way that you can sell yourself. There's 2 ways. You can look the part and you can talk and act the part. And decisiveness is what companies are looking for. So if you're not confident, if you're shy, if you have a lot of self-doubt, that's not going to come off confident or decisive. And they're looking for something specific most times. So confidence is important. You have to improve yourself. You have to sell yourself. The number 1 thing people look for is adaptability, the ability to rise to the occasion, to have enough tenacity and stubbornness to not back down and to keep getting up and going after it. There's nights that I'll stay up until 3 in the morning, 5 in the morning, and I was always like that. Even when I was in the corporate world working with attorneys, until the job is done, I'm not going to rest because tenacity and confidence really matters. I mean, think about it. If you were owned a company, that's something you would very much look for. Getting into theater, getting on camera, any of those things will help you to see how your body language is. If you're stuttering, if you're saying, I am an introvert and also an intuitive. So we're in our heads and we usually don't care about the visuals that much. We usually don't care about those externality things, but the business world does, and most people do. So you have to stretch yourself and pay attention. Pay attention to what is lacking. Just pay attention. If your shirt is wrinkled, your shirt's not tailored, there's cat fur all over you, these things are not going to augur well in the business world. So definitely you want to step it up a notch, and getting on camera is the perfect way even if you don't want to start filming videos on YouTube, it's good to see what other people are looking at. The next thing the business world prizes is extroversion. That's something I definitely don't have. Extroversion is very important. If you look at the 4 types that get paid the most, the 2 top ones are extroverted, and that's because extroverts act usually and then think about it later. You have to get into the habit of doing that, of being decisive, getting the job done, and just doing things and not waiting until you feel like doing them. So how you can build your extroversion skills is by being more social, getting out there and putting yourself out there. You might not like the social scene, it may not have a lot to offer you, but you have to find your niche. So my niche is minimalism and court reporting. So I'm going to go within those realms and build up social circles because it makes sense, because they're going to have other things in common with me. But when you socialize more like an extrovert, you're going to care more about externalities. You're going to be more visually oriented with how you dress and how you carry yourself. And this is all very important. And this is part of the reason why extroverts get paid more. They come off more confident and they are more visually put together, generally speaking. The 4th thing that all of these have in common is that they are all organized. They are all judges on the Myers-Briggs, and so they have things in order. And the reason why organization is very essential, because productivity is just spinning your wheels. If you don't know where you're headed, if you don't value efficiency and results, then you're going to be wasting a lot of motion. A lot of times it's not that we're not productive enough, we're just not focused enough. So you have to be results oriented. You have to see where you want to be going and have to look at the things that you're doing and then evaluate. Every so often, evaluate if it's even getting you where you want to be going. Evaluate the places that you're wasting motion and evaluate what is actually making a difference toward those goals. In this video, I've tried to compile all the ways that you can get the biggest hit for all of your efforts, but you've also got to be aware and to pay attention to your boss, pay attention to the people that are in charge, what they value and what you are good at, and play to your strengths. The very last tip is it's not what you know, it's who you know, which is why extroverts have a leg up in this respect, because they have a bigger social circle. The more connections you have, the better. Therefore, you don't want to be burning down bridges. You want to keep things steady, and also you have to keep in mind that the business world doesn't care about authenticity. What it cares about is results. It cares about being professional and having a good image. And in that regard, they're looking for somebody that is decisive, who's going to rise to the occasion and who's going to carry themselves with integrity. And so you want to be that person as much as possible. So I hope that you will take these tips, and I hope that you'll share them too. If you have a kid that's coming out of high school or college, I'm going to be filming more midweek videos, but I will for sure see you guys next Sunday. Thank you guys so much for watching.